I'm now entering the next chapter of my life. I've moved away from business and committed myself to public service. Because just like my mom saw a need in World War II, I see a critical need now. Earlier, when I was talking to some of you outside, I was asked in a very charming way, "Have you lost your mind?" Why on earth would anyone want to be governor of California today? I can't tell you how many times a week I get that question. And perhaps some of you believe I have lost my mind. Yet I can't help but think that many of you understand exactly why I'm running. All of us in this room are basically wired the same way. We're businesswomen, a tenacious breed. The word failure doesn't really work for us. We don't walk away from challenges, we welcome them, especially when they give profound meaning to our lives and the lives of others. I've lived in California now for nearly 28 years. My two sons were both born here. I built a business here. My husband trained to be a neurosurgeon at University of California, San Francisco. I care deeply about this state, and I refuse to accept that California cannot be better than it is today. I refuse to let California fail. And all of this comes back to my values, to who I am, to what I believe, and the things my mother taught me and I learned along the way. To me, it is simply unacceptable that we have allowed California's economy to fall apart. Businesses can't afford it here anymore. They can't do business here anymore due to regulation. We're bleeding jobs and talent to neighboring states. Our infrastructure is crumbling, government spending is out of control, and people are suffering. My values tells me that it's not good enough to keep kicking our problems down the road for someone else to deal with. We desperately need leadership in California once again. And the area we need leadership most of all is in education. Since when did it become good enough to give our kids a second-rate education? As many of you probably know, today, California's K-12 public schools rank 48th out of 50 states. The dropout rate at LA Unified, California's largest school district, is 50%. If you do not graduate from high school in the 21st century, what is it exactly that you're going to be able to do? As a CEO, I saw firsthand how valuable a trained, well-educated workforce is. eBay was built on intellectual capital. But at the rate we're going, the capital won't be around for the next eBay or for the company that you're building today. All this matters not because it's a political issue, but because it's the right thing to do, to educate our children in the very best way we know how. A society's greatest gift is education and knowledge. Without education, when you withhold education, you withhold equality, prosperity, and the prospects for a better life. Women understand this. For too long, education was an afterthought for women. In some parts of the world, it still is. I was very fortunate to go to Princeton University for my undergraduate degree. I got a great education there and a head start on life. But think about this for a minute. I entered Princeton in the fall of 1973, actually not that long ago. And I was part of just the 4th class of women to go to that school. For more than 220 years before then, no women were allowed at Princeton. Can you imagine where we might be today if women had been encouraged to attend schools like Princeton for the 10 generations when they were barred? Fortunately, we've torn down those types of very direct barriers, but California's failing education system is as stifling a barrier as any of you can imagine. We're denying children of every race, creed, and gender a chance for personal and professional achievement. And in the process, we're damaging our state and our country. This has to stop. I'm a big believer that in life we often come across those little markers that sometimes point the way for where we might be headed. When I was young, my mother and her very best friend, a woman named Judy Gardner, decided that they wanted to head out on the open road. So for 2 whole summers back to back, my mom, Judy, and 8 Whitman and Gardner children, all under the age of 14, set out on 3-month-long camping trips. We set out from Long Island the first summer to tour the western United States in 2 Ford Econoline vans. The husbands were left behind because they had to work. Mind you, this was the early 1960s, before cell phones and GPS. And we also didn't have any reservations because Mom and Judy decided that camping was in fact the way to go. No hotels for us for 3 months. All we had was our camping gear, plus books and board games, and the joy of seeing first the western United States, and second, the next summer we took off to Alaska. Anyway, we had the time of our lives, and on that first summer we saw amazing things and went to some incredible places like the Grand Tetons, the Grand Canyon, and Mesa Verde in Arizona. But when we got to California, it was something else. It was so beautiful, like a magical place that filled my eyes with wonder. I will never forget sleeping under the stars in Yosemite National Park or riding the teacups at Disneyland. Even as a child, I remember thinking how cool it would be to live here all the time. We have so much to be thankful for in California, and I believe this blessing comes with a duty, a responsibility to preserve what we know as a state of mind as much as a state, to keep what we still have of that, and to recapture what we have lost. My mind will always envision a California sun-streaked and luminous with opportunity. My heart will always believe we can make it happen. Good sense and simple values can guide us there. This is what I want for California. On every level, as a wife, a mother, a citizen, a businesswoman, I'm committed to a bright future for the state. I know you all feel the way I do about this. As women, we take on many roles all at the same time. Sometimes society still tries to limit us. But for us, here in this room, we have never let that stop us. If there's one message that I can leave you with today, it's that you should continue to draw closer, to identify your core values, and continue to create positive change in this world. And don't ever forget to remain true to your authentic self, because who we are will always be more important than just what we do. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak today. It was truly an honor, and it's a pleasure to be in your company. Thank you very much.